Day 1162. It's 9:51 p.m. Just got home from church. It's Monday. Today was just next level. Next level. So many testimonies. Yeah. I got to church and just not right when, but a little bit after I got to church, this lady that I spoke to last Monday, I think it was, or one of the days, Thursday, one of the days I was there, and talked to her about, and God just gave me a word for her, and she was like, wow, God is speaking through you. You're on fire right now. Well, she came to me today to just thank me for that, because it just changed her whole week. And then God gave me another word for her, and it was crazy. It's talking about how she's a warrior, and she's like, I know I'm a warrior. Like, I came to this church to be around warriors, and it doesn't make sense, but I'm here, and I know I've got that warrior spirit, but I need help bringing it out. And so I was talking to her. I have a whole list of testimonies. And then I was talking to another girl who's a photographer who just has this incredible gift, like the most amazing photographs I've ever seen. And she's like God's photographer. It's just crazy, and spoke a bunch of life into her. And then talked to two people at the church. They were asking about discernment, and I was just giving them wisdom on that, which was crazy. And there's this guy in the church who's visiting and dropping some stuff off, and he had these really cool hats that were like, they're $40 and $60. Like, they're expensive hats, so they're really nice. And one said LA, had the LA logo with a halo around the L. And then there's another one that said Giants, but said Slayer on top, or Slayer of Giants or something like that, or Slaying Giants or something. And it had like David and Goliath on the side, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. And I've got Warriors of Gods, of course. So he gave us all a hat, which was awesome. And I was like, man, this hat is so cool. And I really liked it. And then one of my friends from church, she came in. She's like, where'd you guys get these hats? And I was like, oh, one of the guys brought them and he gave them to us. And I was like, they're really cool. And she's like, wow, I want to get one. And I was like, yeah, you can ask our pastor to see who the guy was. I've never met him, but he was just in here. And she's like, man, and I could tell she really wanted it. Like, I could just tell. And I'm just like, yep. And she's like, well, if you ever decide you don't want it, I'll take it. And I just laughed, and she laughed, and she walked away. And God was like, give it to her. I was like, Lord, like, but I love this hat. It says like Slayer of Giants, or Slaying Giants, and it's like, it's so cool. Like, it's so Warriors of God. And God said, give it to her. And I was like, hey, here you go, take it. She's like, no, really? I was like, yep, the Lord told me to give it to you. And she's like, I'm about to cry. It like touched her heart so much. It was I had no idea that it would touch her heart. She started getting teary-eyed. She's like, I'm gonna cry. And it was just like, it was beautiful. And she left, and right before the new believers class, she drove up, and she's really struggling with something, and she's not a new believer. She's been a believer for a long time. And I was like, you need to be in this class tonight. Just go pray to God, and if he tells you to be in this class, you show up to this class. Just trust me. And she showed up in the class, and then after the class, she came to me, and she said, I forgave. And she started crying, and I just gave her a big hug, and it was just like, wow, God, you really worked. And it was so cool just giving her that, because I was just like declaring, like, I'm not going to worship things. Okay, Lord, you say give it to her, I'll give it to her. And that blessing of her feeling that love was more valuable than any hat could ever be. And it was just so perfect. So we get ready to do the new believers class. I talked to my pastor, and I'm like, he's like, we got to stay in alignment with the book. And, it's not like, you just teach whatever you want. You got to stay in alignment with the book, which, I get that, but we're done with the book. And so, and I just want to, like, people are hungry. They want more than the book. The book is great, but it's very surface level. It's very, very beginner. And I know this is new believers class, but these might be new believers in the faith, but they're powerful people. And so I'm like struggling to put this presentation together, and I ask God for wisdom and guidance, and then it starts flowing. And then I'm like, okay. And I just realized, like, I can't not talk about spiritual warfare. I cannot not talk about this. This is who I am. This is just who God created me to be. And I'm just going to have to embrace that. And if the church doesn't like that or doesn't want me talking about that, then I'm just not the guy for the class. And I really accepted that. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be who God called and created me to be, and I'm going to talk about what God has called and created me to talk about. And so I did the class, and I put the presentation together. I'm like, this is it. And we show up, everyone starts showing up, and I got, pizza for everyone. And then someone brought Chick-fil-A, someone brought Wingstop. I was like, whoa, this is getting elevated. And full, 24 people. We've only got 16 seats, and there's 25 people that showed up. We got people sitting on the sides. It was packed. It was crazy. And then like 5 minutes after the class started, my pastor walked over and he went and sat in the back, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, okay. And I I was just confident, and I did it. And he was like, first he was on his phone, like doing some things, getting some work done while listening. And then he got super engaged, and he started standing up, and I was like, wow, he's like really feeling this. And then eventually, he left, and it was just such a powerful class. Like, the people were just so engaged and so excited and full of so much hope. And I was teaching them how to use the word of God to fight things like, anxiety, depression, fear, overwhelm, sadness, doubt, all this. And we were having a real conversations, and they were super powerful. God was giving me so much wisdom, and it was just like, they were just like, wow. They were just, wow. And it was super powerful. And then the class ended, and people were super excited, and they were talking with each other. And yeah, it was just awesome. Like 25 people. That's crazy. It's just like God is just adding more and more. Like, we can't do it in that space anymore. The vision that God has given me is that soon enough, I'll be standing on the main stage with the big screen, and we'll be doing it in the sanctuary, and there'll be 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 people there that are not just new believers, but believers who want to be on fire for God and learn how to walk this life that we're called to walk. And so it was just this amazing experience. I was just shocked at how awesome it was. And then prayer night is starting, and then our pastor comes over, and he's like, you did so good. Like, you did so good. And he's like a really nice guy, but he does not really praise people like aggressively like that. And I was like, whoa, I did not expect that. He's like, honestly, it was like a little too good. Like, what do you want? What are you going for? And I'm like, don't worry, I don't want to be a pastor. He's like, okay, so my job is safe. I'm like, yeah, I'm not the pastor type. And he laughed. And 3 different times he came to me and was like, that was really, really, really good. And I was like, wow, for him to say it one time is like, whoa, that I must have done really good. But for him to say it 3 different times, wow. And then one of my friends, it was her first time in it. She was like, that was amazing. Like, what God gave you, that was amazing. I was like, yeah, it was all God, praise God. And it was just like, it was so cool for me to see my pastor and seeing me and my gift that God has given me. Because this is the pastor that was with me in the internship. Like, he's the one that I respect the most out of all of our pastors. He's the one I learned so much from. And he's seen me transform from a non-believer to where I am now. And you could just tell he had the biggest smile. He was so proud. He was so impressed. And it was just like, yeah, it was really, really cool, because he's had a huge role in my salvation and my faith. And so, yeah, I thought I was going to get a lot of critiques and everything. And you can't do this, you can't say that. But he was like, that was so good. Like, I'm so proud of you. It was so, so good. You could just tell he had so much joy in his heart from it. It was awesome. So amazing, incredible night. I start fasting tomorrow. The media team at Fearless, which I'm a part of that, we're doing a 5-day fast from anything we want. And I'm fasting from food, and I'm fasting from any lustful things. This is the end of it. So yeah, tomorrow the fast begins. So yeah, but it was just an incredible day. Such an incredible day. And there's just a hunger in that class. Like, it's just going to blow up. And I have put 0 effort into really promoting it or anything. Like, I haven't done, like, I want to put together like a promo video for it that they can show on Sundays. Like, I want to start building a team of people. I want to have people start inviting other people. I want to have them be posting on social media. Like, if I really put effort into it, we'd be at 50 people, like, within a few weeks, like, easily. And we'd have to use the sanctuary. Like, the only other place we can go after this place that we're at is the sanctuary. We got to go to the main sanctuary. So yeah, it's just incredible what God is doing. And I'm just so blessed that he's using me. And yeah, it's just amazing. Such an honor to be used by God. And then there's some extra pizza. I'm taking some of it because this is the last thing I get to eat for 5 days. And so I'm going to have some pizza, but then there's an extra one. And so I drove to the 99-cent store again, and there was a guy loading up a cart with all of his belongings. And I just rolled down the window. I was like, hey, man, you want some pizza? I was like, yes, thank you, thank you. And yeah, just broke my heart to see how struggling, like how much people are struggling, and he's mentally like just not fully there. And I'm just like, wow, Lord, this world just messes people up. So, but yeah, just spoke so much life today, had so much fun. It was just an amazing day all the way around. So yeah, it was great.